let's talk Villa. And today we're going to be breaking down our 2-1 victory over Lille in the first half of this video, and then looking ahead to our big game against Arsenal in a couple of days' time, or tomorrow as this video gets released. I'm recording it on Friday, gets sent out on Saturday. Let's go through Lille, Arsenal, and what Villa are doing at the moment in terms of how we're playing, our defence, which I want to get into, and can we beat Arsenal? So purely for the fact that we have no time in between games at the moment, I thought I would review and then preview in the same video. So sorry if there's some slight confusion around that. If you are enjoying the Aston Villa content, of course, yesterday we uploaded our Joshua Zirkzee scouting video, who is allegedly in talks for Villa. Then always be sure to go over and check that out as well. But first we'll get into the Lille game, which was yesterday. We won 2-1, a performance at Villa Park that left more questions than answers, I think, in terms of how we actually played in that game. The result itself, don't get me wrong, good result. We're taking a lead over to France where we have to play them, at their home ground or whatnot. But in the end of the day, was it a good enough performance to warrant confidence going into that second leg against Lille? And that is where I would probably warn some sort of caution against being too optimistic. Lille haven't lost a game at home in 38 games, I think it is now, or something like that. I saw a ridiculous stat on Twitter about the fact that they haven't really lost at home this year, and going into last year as well. They played really well. I'll chuck the stats up on screen now, but they actually outplayed us, I thought, for the large majority of the game. Possession went to them, the amount of shots went to them, and if we didn't have Emi Martinez in goal yesterday, I think we probably would have lost 3 or 4-1, or 3 or 4-2, whatever. We definitely wouldn't have won, let's put it that way. If you have a goalkeeper that isn't winning the best goalkeeper in the world awards, Aston Villa do not win that game. We got lucky, and you can say it's lucky, you can say it's not lucky about the offside goal. It was literally a hairpin, or an outgrowing toenail or overgrown toenail that they were offside for their first goal. Sloppy defending from a set piece again for their second goal. I don't understand. Austin McPhee has an assistant set piece coach and him, and yet we seem to be conceding set pieces all the time. So I don't really understand what is going on there. We seem to do a mixture of zonal marking and man marking, which I never ever like. There was a few mismatches in terms of the players that players were marking, and it just seemed a bit thrown together, our set piece defending at the moment. So like I say, actually a bad performance, I thought, overall from Aston Villa. I don't think we played particularly well. We should have had a penalty, to be fair. If I can get the clip, I'll throw it in here. No idea how that isn't a penalty, because any other time that's 100% a penalty. He's nowhere near the ball, he's got no eyes for the ball whatsoever, he just barges Watkins over in the box. But again, I'm pretty sure they pick up these referees for the Europa Conference League from sort of Aldi, Tesco, Lidl, sort of general sort of blue collar jobs like that. So yeah, we didn't play particularly well, but we got the win. In the end of the day, that is all that matters in football, is the scoreline, and the scoreline read 2-1 for Aston Villa. We have something to defend going into that second leg. I'm sure Emery will manage the hell out of that second leg, and hopefully we are through to the semi-finals. In terms of player ratings, no one, to be fair, had an outrageously good or bad game. Watkins had a decent game. Bailey, I thought, looked lively, and I thought Pau Torres, out of all of our defenders, was the standout for me. Really good on the ball, calm, composed, brilliant dribble in that game, some fantastic passes into the middle of the park. Morgan Rogers, again, a couple of sloppy errors in there, but I expect that from a player who's learning the team still. But everyone played all right. Everyone was decent. Everyone was a 6 or a 7, but we're going to need better going in to the second leg. Man of the match, 10 out of 10, Emi Martinez. Without him, we lose that game, and everyone on Twitter is fuming this morning. But that's enough of the Lille game. My preview for that game will come out next Tuesday in terms of the second leg. Let's now focus on Arsenal. We're back in the Premier League. The coefficient spots have not gone well for Aston Villa last night, with Liverpool losing, West Ham losing. I believe Germany have overtaken England to get that 5th spot. So it's a crucial game against Arsenal on Sunday. How do I think we should line up? What are the chances that we win? Let's find out. So as you can see from the graphic next to me, this is the team I think we should put out against Arsenal. Only a couple of changes really, and a few of them are enforced. The back five stays exactly the same. We have been having massive defensive issues recently, and I don't know how, to be honest, we get over it. We're leaking goals without Emi Martinez. I think we probably have one of the worst defensive records in the league since January. But I don't think Matty Cash is back, as far as I'm aware, just yet. I think Pau Torres has probably been one of the outstanding performers, especially against Lille. He had a bit of a dodgy game against Brentford, but we know he's our best defender in terms of like actual class and Rolls Royceness. It's him and Ezri Konsa. Ezri Konsa having to play right back, I don't like it. I prefer him as a centre back. I think Diego Carlos is sloppy on the ball. He's a good centre back, don't get me wrong. He makes some really, really important challenges, but he seems to be caught out on the offside trap quite a lot, and I just don't like the way he plays the ball in terms of how Emery likes to play football. And then Luca Digne for me is just the obvious choice to continue his run at left back. Obviously Moreno could come in. I wouldn't be too precious about either of those. The big change here, and I think the reason that doesn't fill me with confidence about this Arsenal game, is that midfield of Tielemans and John McGinn. Kamara obviously still out injured for the rest of the season, and Douglas Luiz is now suspended for the Arsenal game and our next Premier League game as well. So we're going to have to try this makeshift midfield. Maybe you could argue for Tim Arogbenham starting, allowing John McGinn to go further forward. But I think, would you trust Tielemans, a player who hasn't played that centre mid role very often this season, and a 21-year-old who has only started one Premier League game? Fair enough, we might have to, but I think it probably could be avoided. And Tielemans and John McGinn are two of our most experienced players in the Premier League. They are the ones for me that need to start and just hold that down. Who knows, it might work, probably not. I've gone for Bailey on the right and Morgan Rogers on the left, two of our outstanding performers over the past few weeks. And then Ollie Watkins with John Duran up front. It's harsh on Moussa Diaby, and he could be the one that ultimately gets the nod there to try and get in behind the Arsenal attack. But there's something so chaotic about John Duran that I just love, and I feel like he got a goal against Man City. Chuck him into the deep end and see what he can do. If we scroll over to Aston Villa's last results in the Premier League, it is not good reading for us, to be honest. 4-0 drumming against Spurs. We came back with a 1-1 draw against West Ham. Got the good 2-0 victory over Wolves. And then since then, it has been nothing but sadness. With a 4-1 loss to Man City, where we were comfortably outclassed and outplayed on the day. And then I think the Brentford draw is probably the most disappointing result out of all of those. Perhaps the Spurs one, because we changed how we played and got drummed for it. But the Brentford one, 2-0 up in the 57th minute, 3-2 down by the 68th minute. A collapse, a capitulation. Less said the better. And it gets worse when we go over here to Arsenal's recent results, because as you can tell, they are on a streak from hell. If you thought the Undertaker's WrestleMania streak was good, Arsenal's current streak is outstanding. A 6-0 win over Sheffield United, followed it up with a 2-1 win over Brentford, the 0-0 draw against Manchester City, 2-0 win over Luton, and then a 3-0 win against Brighton. Arsenal are looking quite simply unstoppable in the Premier League at the moment, and due to that, as you can see there, they find themselves top of the league on 71 points, joint with Liverpool, but with a better goal difference of 51, which is absolutely incredible. We know how they'll line up. We know they have Saka, we know they have Declan Rice, Martin Odegaard, Saliba and Gabriel Martinelli at the back, who are probably the best centre-back duo in the Premier League this season. I don't know how we're going to get goals against them. To be honest, I'm a little bit worried about this game. But we find ourselves 5th in the league, joint on points with Tottenham, who do still have a game in hand on us, and Tottenham still have to play Arsenal, so there is every chance that we could get one up here if we manage to get 3 points. Like I said at the start of the video, for coefficient spaces in the Champions League, which is effectively the way that England, or the 5th place finisher in England, would get Champions League, it's pretty much almost been thrown out the door, considering Liverpool lost, West Ham lost to a German team, and it's Germany who we're competing with. Who else? Man City drew, Arsenal drew. So really, we need us to go all the way, and City and Arsenal really to go all the way. Now, if Liverpool could pull something back, great. I don't see West Ham coming back against Bayer Leverkusen, who are one of the outstanding performers in Europe this season. But it's not looking good. It's a must-win game. And what I think is going to happen if I will myself over here, I think we're going to lose. I just hope that we don't lose badly. If I had to put a prediction on this game, I'd probably go a 3-0 victory for Arsenal. I don't see Villa having anything going forward that would trouble Arsenal at the moment. I don't see Ollie Watkins, with no service around him, being able to trouble the likes of William Saliba and Gabriel at the heart of Arsenal's defence. I don't see us being able to break them down in between the lines with someone like Declan Rice patrolling. I think the best hope that we do have is if they either play, I can't remember his name, Kiwior right back, and then Zinchenko left back or something like that. The wing backs for Arsenal, I think, if it's any secret, are probably their weakness. And if we can get Leon Bailey and Morgan Rogers attacking them comfortably down the wing on counter-attacks effectively, as things are any option, then I could see us possibly snatching a draw, possibly snatching a win. But I think everything is weighted in Arsenal's favour. It's at the Emirates. They're on a fantastic run. They're probably one of the most outstanding teams. Them City and Liverpool this season, the most outstanding teams in the Premier League. Attacking wise, you're going to have Saka up against Luca Digne. Again, I'm not really too worried about that as a battle, but then you have our defence having to deal with the constant pressure, and at the moment our defence just has a mistake in it. It has a dodgy marking situation, and I think unfortunately 3-0 Arsenal. I just hope that Spurs also lose and we manage to keep this 4th place dream alive, but it is very slowly fading. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Be sure to check out all the other videos on the channel. There's a lot of transfer content coming out recently, and as always, up the Villa and be nice to everyone.